Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. KJRadio.com. You can reach us by phone at 844-551-8255. So I was talking about, in the first segment, about Mayweather and McGregor. Good fight, if you happen to catch it. And I'm watching this fight, and I'm happy that the boxer won in his milieu. Okay? If it had been an MMA fight, I would have been happy that the MMA guy proved that he's better in his milieu. That is why there are different sporting categories. For example, there's K1, there was PKA back when I was a fighter. There was all these different things that you tested yourself in it. We're set up for different skill sets. And if you aren't training for that skill set, then you're probably not going to win. Michael Jordan proved this by training for basketball and deciding, you know what, I'll go play a little bit of baseball. And he did, and he sucked at it. McGregor came over to fight in boxing, and there are people who will argue this. Oh, Kevin, he went 10 rounds with the best boxer. Let me tell you something. Mayweather could have knocked this dude out in 5 rounds. He dragged him into deep water to make it easy. Why do I need to impress an audience when I'm going to get a payday of $200 million? I would have done the same thing. If I could have knocked you out in the first round by fighting hard and potentially getting hurt, why do that? I'm just going to lure you in, let you think you're winning some rounds, and I'm going to knock your head off. And that is exactly what Mayweather did. And let me tell you, around the 4th or 5th round, McGregor knew he got that look. Let me explain the look. The look is because that look is where somebody believes, I'm tougher than you, I'm going to kick your butt. And you go, okay, fine. And you set up the fight, and pow, you hit them a couple times, and they go, crap, I didn't even see that. How am I going to fight something I can't see? I know that look because I've given that look to enough people to where I go, you ask for this. Conor McGregor called Mayweather out rightfully. He's going to get the biggest payday of his life. At the prime time of his career, he's 29 years old. He's going to fight a 40-year-old man who's been retired for 2 years. You couldn't ask for a better scenario for Conor McGregor. And he fights, let me tell you, the level of training of Floyd Mayweather versus any of the MMA guys, you just don't know. This kid grew up as a fighter. He grew up on the streets. He grew up watching people talk smack and understanding that he was willing to back it up. And then by the 5th round, that fight was over, completely over. Mayweather was pretty much stalking this guy. Everybody was joking. Oh, Mayweather's going to be on his bicycle. He's going to be running. How do you fight when you're running? He didn't run. He backed this guy up the entire 5th round till he knocked him out. And you could see the level of intensity of those punches. And Conor McGregor starts grabbing on. Look, I got nothing against Conor McGregor, a good fighter who called the guy out, who is arguably one of the best boxers to ever, well, in my opinion, inarguably, one of the best boxers to ever put gloves on. But here's where I want to get into the politics of it. So some guy sends me a thing, Kevin, you need to stick to politics. First of all, don't tell me what to do. I know fighting. So if I weren't doing this, I probably would be announcing fighting or something like that. I know it because I live it every single day. I live fighting, whether I'm training my son or somebody else or training myself. And believe it or not, a lot of the concepts of what I talk about on this program come from a warrior's code, a warrior's mentality that says, I'm not backing down from this fight. It's too important. Now, look, I don't look for fights. McGregor looked for his fight, and he found it. But I think he did it for all the right reasons. I wouldn't change a thing. But don't get it twisted. And then, of course, everybody was, well, Kevin, he can't do this if he comes over to the octagon. And my argument is, Mayweather didn't say, hey, Conor McGregor, you think you're so bad, I'm going to come over to the octagon and kick your butt. He has no obligation to go over there and do anything, to fight, to whatever. Then I had guys telling me, well, it's not a real fight, like MMA. No, MMA is not a real fight, and I'm not even going to argue with it. The guys out there that I train with, we understand this. MMA is what boxing and the octagon is it's a good test of your skills in an environment that's controlled and has rules. Now, if you want to believe that that's a real life fight, then you're dead wrong. it's a good indication of your skill set, and there's nothing wrong with that. So is form. If you want to do form, I mean, for all intents and purposes, the better your form looks, the better, the crisper, the better you may potentially fight. If you go further and do what's called one steps, where somebody throws a punch and you respond and you do 15 different tactics on them, then all the better. You get more, you get better off. Then there's sparring, and sparring is another level up. But when you get into a real life situation, don't think the octagon is going to save you, because it isn't. Don't think the ring is going to save you. It's prepared you. And as I say to the people I train in, my sons, trust your training. There should be no doubt that you have offered the best when it's time for you to come at the thing. So long story short, folks, I get these people mad. They're telling me I'm in the thing for Mayweather, but here's the one that really got to know whether he beat one or he beat all of them. But for the sake of discussion, maybe he did beat them all. Let me explain something to you folks. I was asked to judge the fight. Kevin, what do you think's going to happen in a fight? Mayweather's going to beat him. Not cheering for him. I cheered for the sport of boxing, because if any boxers ever, then why don't you just cancel boxing? Boxing is a true art with your hands, and if you know how to do it well, I know who got for that. But don't dismiss the boxer. And for the people that want to do that and act like, I'm going to move around on the ground and spend 5 years or 10 years of my life learning how to ground fight, good for you. I mean, I've done it. But if you don't spend 5 or 10 years of your life learning how to use your hands, you're going to be in trouble, because a boxer can give you a lot of grief. But back to the wife beater. So this guy's like, you're supporting of a wife beater. How am I supporting a wife beater when I'm talking about who's going to win the fight? I'm doing a fight analysis. Well, it would be great if Mayweather certainly has all the tools. He's got the speed. He's got the talent. He's certainly in great shape. He's considered one of the pound for pound. But, he is a wife beater, so there's no chance of him winning. Said no announcer ever. That's not what I was talking about. But what gets me is people left me on Twitter saying, I can't support a guy who supports a wife beater. Then go. You don't even need to tell me the reason you go. Go. I don't support wife beater. That's so silly that it makes me wonder who the hell you think you are. It's just stupid. I don't support a wife beater. I'm doing an analysis of a fight, and idiots will, you support that. Let me tell you something. Tell me what you support, and I'm going to go dig up a little dirt on them, and then I'm going to abandon you because, you support Michael Jordan, and he, cheated on his wife.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.